see how
drugs.
cooperative you are.
I'm going to pass every drug test you got. I have 0 drugs in me.
Okay, go ahead.
No pot, no coke, no meth, no nothing. Just Adderall.
Okay, have a seat. She's valedictorian?
70 hours a week. I can't believe this.
My name is Lieutenant Colonel Lee Roger Wolfgram, and I am a storyteller. Welcome to the bunker. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Colonel channel, and I'm so thankful and so excited that I got such a great response on the last video when the police had a law student and they just couldn't give him to consent or to give away his constitutional rights. I want to say at the onset that Audit the Audit does a great job of compiling this public data, analyzing it, giving case sites, and what I add to this is commentary. If you want those case sites and you want that deep dive case analysis, certainly go to Audit the Audit. They do a great job. That's kind of why I follow their videos myself. It comes from Minnesota, my home state. I fight these guys all the time on exactly what's going on. Leave that videotape evidence, leave that body-worn camera for somebody to fight it out like me later on and maybe even get a civil rights attorney. But that is what I recommend. So let's just watch this and I will give you some other ideas I have about how to deal with this sort of police conduct.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I figured I'd come in this way because I didn't want to be on the road.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I'm just going to go talk to my partner up here. You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Everything? Okay,
Yeah,
you just hang tight, okay?
Does he seem impaired? So apparently there is a driver that said he was all over the road. Well, okay, that might be the case, and police should investigate that kind of thing. I completely agree. But who is this caller? What exactly did they see for driving conduct? Did the police get behind him and actually witness any of this conduct themselves? And I guess we're going to find out what they have here and how they approach this, because that guy didn't sound like he was slurring his words. I don't pick up anything. I don't know if there's an elder, but let's see.
Can I just see his deal? Yeah, he's very... Yeah. Let's see that.
CDL, commercial driver's license. That means that his sole means of support for his family is based upon his ability to earn income from that commercial driver's license.
Going from Wadena, I was going
Coming from Wadena?
Going to his daughter's graduation.
But yeah, I totally up to you.
Yeah, it's fine with me. I get off for an hour.
Yeah, do you just want to hang tight just behind him?
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know if did you have your proof of insurance?
Yep. Would you like to see it too?
Yes, please. Yeah, so.
Is it okay to open it up?
Absolutely. You don't have any knives, weapons,
No.
guns, or anything in there?
No, absolutely not.
Yes, that's just fine. Where are you coming from?
Alexandria. Just got off work on my way to my daughter's graduation.
Alexandria?
Yeah.
High school graduation?
Yep.
And you own the car?
Yep, I sure do.
Okay. What were you doing in Alec?
I work there for Mark Lee.
For what?
Mark Lee Asphalt. I drive.
Okay, so let's talk about what's really happening here. She's engaging in a discussion of stuff really that has nothing to do with whether or not he's impaired, except for how he answers these questions. Do we sense any slurring of words? What is the conduct and the behavior? And then you look at the other side, the other officer is standing right on the other side. So this is an ambush, and this guy is just trying to get to his daughter's graduation. He hasn't taken anything he's not supposed to take. He's just trying to get through this. But the State Patrol, the drug recognition evaluator, has got a different plan because they're going to make sure they get a DWI no matter what, regardless of this man's representations. It just doesn't matter what he says. So why say anything? Just go into custody. There's no talking yourself out of this. This guy was trying to talk himself out of it because he has a graduation to go to. Otherwise, he should have shut his mouth. They've got what they got, and then sue him afterwards. And I'll get to that in a little bit.
Semi dump truck.
Gotcha.
Just got work and
What were you doing while driving? Were you on your phone or something while
I got
driving?
hands-free.
Well, you were called in for being all over the road.
Yeah, that don't make no sense to me at all.
And there's no reason that you would have been...
All over the road, or was never all over the road. Somebody must be Josh, and it must be a prank or something. I don't know.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I haven't been all over the road and had no issues. So
Okay. Are you taking any prescription medications?
I take Adderall.
When's the last time we took Adderall?
6 o'clock this morning.
How many milligrams is that?
30.
30? Okay. Once a day?
Once a day.
Morning? 6? How about anything else?
No.
Any illegal controlled substance uses
No.
that we use? How about alcohol?
No.
Okay. So I'm a drug recognition evaluator, and there's a couple concerning things.
Okay.
I'm going to run you through a few tests.
Okay.
Your eyes are glossy, watery. Your driving conduct's being called in.
Driving conduct she didn't see. I don't know about water and glassy eyes. There's so many different reasons for that. You're going to have to tie it together a little bit more.
I'm going to run you through some tests and make sure you're good to go.
Okay.
Any questions with that?
No.
Trooper Bozer informs Mr. Moore that she's going to perform field sobriety tests, or FSTs, on him, and he agrees. Although she did not phrase her statement as a request, under Minnesota law, field sobriety testing is optional, and drivers who are suspected of DWI are not legally required to perform field sobriety tests.
And this is the first problem I have with this in Minnesota, by the way, is that if they have to inform you about your right to counsel, this is giving evidence against yourself. Don't for any minute believe that this is just routine administrative processing. These officers are trained specifically to engage in these discussions so that they draw out any indicators that give them a probable cause so they can actually be right at the end if they are. But if they're not, there needs to be a mechanism where a citizen whose rights have been violated so flagrantly like this can file a real easy thing, just like giving the police a ticket. And guess what? You use the body camera, it goes to a court, just like your traffic court. If the court found that you, in fact, your civil rights were violated by a preponderance of the evidence, you get to fine the police for whatever that cost in time at a statutory rate. So at least people are compensated for the time taken out of their lives for fishing expeditions or overzealous police work. I am getting all worked up. Let's get back to the video.
Notably, though, in the 2019 case of Otto versus Commissioner of Public Safety, the Court of Appeals of Minnesota determined that law enforcement officers are under no legal duty to inform drivers that both field sobriety tests and preliminary breath tests are optional. Accordingly, the court would likely determine that Trooper Bozer's quote-unquote request that Mr. Moore participate in sobriety testing was lawful, even though she did not inform him that he had the right to refuse.
If you want to, you can shut your car off.
Hope I'm not late for my daughter's graduation.
What time's that at?
7 o'clock.
Okay. Hopefully not.
I still got to change into some clean clothes.
You don't want to wear that?
No.
Okay, hands up. Do you wear any knives or anything?
No.
Okay. I just quick pat because sometimes that's totally fine. People forget that they have pocket knives, especially if they do construction. I'm going to have you come back towards my
I work 15 hours a day, so.
Okay. So what time did you start this morning?
At 6 o'clock.
You started at 6?
Yeah.
I'm going to have you stand in front of my grill here,
Okay.
face your car.
Okay.
Any recent brain injuries,
No.
concussions,
No.
tumors
No.
that you know of? Any lower body injuries that prevent you from walking? Or
I just had a recent case. I still waiting for the judge's decision, but I challenged all this because my client said, yep, I've got this problem, I've got that problem, I can't probably do that. And you know what they do? They have you do the tests anyway, knowing that you're not going to do well because you just told them. But what do they get? They get video of you falling over yourself, failing the test, so they can continue to go, so they can ask for a blood or a urine or a breath test. That's the game, guys. We're up to it. We know what's going on.
No.
I won't have you doing any cartwheels, so you'll be okay.
All right.
Blind in either eye?
No.
Do you wear contacts?
No.
Okay. Just a couple questions I ask. Have you done field sobriety before?
Yeah.
Okay, so I may do stuff very similar, but I also might do it a little different from in the past. I'll explain everything,
Okay.
so you won't be guessing. If you have questions, just ask. Okay? First thing I do is I just take a pulse. Yep, and just relax there. What was I gonna say? I forgot what I was gonna say.
Trooper Bozer takes Mr. Moore's pulse and later testified that it was 116 beats per minute, which is higher than the average resting pulse rate of 60 to 90 beats per minute. Now, although an elevated heart rate is a well-documented physiological effect of stimulant drugs, including amphetamines such as Adderall, a high heart rate is not exclusive to stimulant impairment. For instance, the Mayo Clinic notes that exercise or emotional stress can produce what's called sinus tachycardia, a normal rapid heart rate in otherwise healthy individuals. As stress, fear, and anxiety trigger adrenaline release that elevates the pulse, and being stopped by police is often an anxiety-provoking event, the surge of adrenaline can cause a racing heart and jitteriness that mimic drug effects.
In fact, it's completely natural to this situation. He is just trying to get out of there, so he's not paying as close of attention as he normally would. Because remember, he's got his daughter's graduation to go to. He just wants to get these tests over, get on the road, because he hasn't done anything, and he's confident that when these are done, he's going to be released and allowed to go to attend his daughter's graduation.
Therefore, Mr. Moore's elevated heart rate alone would likely be insufficient evidence to prove that he was impaired.
So, next test.
Oh, but we're going to add the elevated heart rate to the bloodshot and watery eyes. Watch. See, all this little pieces seem by themselves to be sort of innocuous, but they just add it all up. See, there you go. That's the probable cause. Need a test.
It's a Romberg test. So, feet completely together.
Okay.
Toes touching, arms by your side. You're going to tilt your head back and you're going to close your eyes.
Okay.
While you do that, you're going to estimate the passage of 30 seconds.
Okay.
When you believe 30 seconds has passed,
Okay.
you're going to tilt your head down just like you are now and open your eyes and say stop.
Okay.
So I tell you when to start and you're going to tell me when to stop.
Okay. Eyes open, closed.
Eyes closed.
Okay. Eyes
Yep.
closed. Okay.
Yep. You can begin.
Finished.
How'd you get there?
What do you mean?
How'd you get to 30? Did you count? Did you just guess? Did you I just asked?
Yeah.
Counted in your head?
Counted in my head. Was I close?
You're close.
Okay.
You'd be surprised with the answers I get.
Okay.
So you're a little taller than I am, so I'm going to have you have a seat on this chair. Well, I shouldn't say chair, but it'll be your chair for this.
Trooper Bozer performs a series of field sobriety tests on Mr. Moore, including a horizontal gaze nystagmus test, the walk and turn test, and the one-leg stand test. Mr. Moore.
Okay, so I want to show you something on these tests. You see how he's using his arm for balance? Well, he was instructed to keep his arms by his side. So as soon as he breaks that arms by his side thing, that's a cue. That's obviously intoxication because we got bloodshot, watery eyes. Remember that? Now we've got him. He's using his arm, and we told him to keep his arms by his side. And, you know, the rapid elevated heart rate, this is for sure a DWI.
Cooperated with the tests and completed each one successfully with the exception of the one-leg stand, which Mr. Moore attributed to the shoes he was wearing at the time. After completing the tests, Trooper Bozer continued with her investigation.
Okay, I'm going to take a pulse again. You can have a seat again.
The shoes are squishy, so.
Those are good shoes.
They are, but they're kind of.
Mine are pretty solid, man.
Huh?
Mine are pretty solid.
Yeah, these here got such a big head on them. I feel like I'm standing on a balloon.
Do you want to try it with taking your shoes off?
No, I think I did good enough.
Okay. It's not an ask. Some people want to go barefoot.
I feel pretty confident I'd pass the sobriety test.
Anything alcohol-wise today?
No.
Or in the last 24 hours? Anything in your mouth?
No.
Stick your tongue out. So, I get lied to every day, so let's knock that PBT out. Does that sound?
Cool.
Sound good? Did we have a DWI in the past before? What was that one for? Drugs or alcohol?
Drugs.
What was that? Okay. Was that your drug of choice? Wasn't your drug of choice? How'd we end up using it then?
I ended up drinking some water that had it in it.
Oh. When's the last time we used meth?
July 7th, 2020.
2020? How often did we use it in the past? Pretty often.
Oh, when I lose my.
You see that? How often did we use in the past? And then suggest the answer, pretty often. Where did you get that from? Pretty often.
Insurance for my Adderall.
Oh, gotcha. Blow, 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 blow. There you go.
Yeah.
Zeros. You were telling the truth. When you lose your insurance for Adderall.
Yeah, that's my insurance.
How long ago?
Oh, this was years ago. I'm going on.
Are you on probation or anything?
No.
When's the last time we used meth?
July 7th, 2020.
Cocaine?
Already told
I
him.
haven't used that since I was in high school.
How do we take our Adderall?
Orally. I have my prescription with me if you'd like to see
Do
it.
you have it? Yes, I'd like to see it.
I grab my backpack, is that okay?
That's absolutely fine. Yep. Just, I'm going to ask you again. No drugs or
Absolutely
anything in
not.
there?
No, I get drug tests. I got Class A. I drive commercial vehicles, so.
Okay. So you take this how often?
Once a day.
Once a day? So how come we have a tab and a half?
Probably because on the weekend, maybe I felt like taking a half tab instead of a whole one.
Did we just take a half tab today, tonight?
Not tonight, no, I haven't had one since this morning.
Okay. Do you have your septum? Look up.
Oh,
once.
yeah.
Have you ever looked in somebody's nose after they
No,
snort stuff?
I haven't snorted anything in 4 years.
Okay.
Just about. So
Just
three and
smoked
a
it
half.
then?
No, I haven't smoked in 3.5 since July 7th of 2020.
Okay.
So
you're showing a lot of signs of stimulant use beyond.
You're showing a lot of signs of being harassed by the police, and we can change that to fit exactly what it would be that we need in order to show probable cause for a DWI investigation. We created this.
A prescribed dosage. So I don't know if you took it at 6 a.m., right?
yeah.
And took 30 milligrams,
Yeah.
you're way too stimmed out right now for that.
I-
So when's the last time we actually took an Adderall pill?
6 o'clock this morning.
Okay, so what else would we have that's making you stim?
Nothing. I don't have no caffeine, no pop. I drink bottles of water. Last time I had encounters with the cops, they were at the wrong room. They tased me six cops tased me 12 times. In
You
6
don't fight with
minutes.
cops, do you?
No, no.
Just that once?
I didn't fight with them that time either.
Well, if you got tased 12 times, that wasn't very cooperative.
No, I was face down and got tased 12 times and put in a coma.
How long ago was that?
A few years ago.
Okay. So
Yeah,
wasn't.
so I get nervous around cops a little bit, you know.
And I can
from
get that, but have I
I was the
ever-
wrong person, wrong room, wrong everything.
But I've never given you a reason to be nervous, right?
Well, you already know. You're telling me I'm overstimulated and I just passed the
Yeah.
sobriety test and
You're making, just now you're getting agitated, which makes me a little nervous.
Now you're getting agitated because you're right.
If I get arrested for DWI, are we going in or what
Are
are
you
we
gonna
doing
be cooperative?
here? Yes, ma'am.
Yes, you are under arrest.
Click, click.
So I'm missing my daughter's graduation.
Okay, we'll try to make this fast, okay?
What do we do? Go take
Lie.
Yes, sir.
Oh, thank God. I didn't think you might that. Oh, I guess that.
She knows he's
Okay,
going to
but
be held.
The thing is, do you have somebody that can come get you? Because if I'm arresting you for a DWI,
Oh, I'll patch you drug test.
no, sir. So what's gonna happen, and I'll explain it to you, is we have to go in for a BCA drug test, which I don't get the results for today.
So I'll be in jail overnight?
Can you just listen for 1
Yes.
second? Are you gonna be cooperative the entire time?
Just, can I grab my wallet? Can you give me my
I'll
wallet, please?
grab all your wallet and stuff.
I can't call my daughter, tell her I'm not gonna make her graduation. Oh my God.
Try to relax here, okay?
Why do you think I'm overstimulated? I don't understand.
So I'm a drug recognition evaluator.
Right.
And you're showing signs, numerous signs of,
Like what?
like,
I took you my prescription.
you wanted that with you, right?
Yes, please.
Okay, come on back with me.
I'd like to call my mom or somebody.
Well, I'll grab your phone. I will. Okay, come on back.
Am I gonna be in jail overnight?
We'll see. Typically, yes, you would be, but we're gonna see how
no drugs.
cooperative you
I'm
are.
gonna pass every drug test you got. I have 0 drugs in me.
Okay, go ahead.
No pot,
Have a seat.
no coke, no meth, no nothing. Just Adderall.
Okay, have a seat. She's valedictorian?
17 hours a week. I can't believe this. I've been drug free, going. Hey, wait.
What's wrong?
I attend set free. I go to church.
Okay, hold on, okay?
Just that callous insensitivity, because it's already determined, regardless of what that test result, that she's going to destroy this one in a lifetime chance. What's that worth to you?
I didn't have the driving, so what did you see in driving conduct?
Yeah, well, he's got a cracked windshield, and then he has a inoperable passenger side brake light.
Okay, reasons for a stop. Nothing about impairment. Thanks for the help. Did you see anything that he did that would indicate that he's impaired?
Okay.
And then, yeah, he was kind of jerky. He didn't cross over any lines.
Oh.
Behind him.
Yep.
He, you know, like jerky.
Yep. Yep.
You know.
Yep.
Which makes
Yeah, so ours had, the collar had them all over. Yeah, sure. Yeah, so his Adderall, he's not taking as prescribed. See, a pill and a half.
What was it?
First one was 118, second one was 124 or 6. I wrote it down.
And Lombard. I didn't.
35. He was fidgeting that whole time. Yeah, he was like this the whole time on his leg.
We know why, right? Why he's fidgety, why his heart rate's going up. He's about to miss the most important date in his family's life.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Adderall or meth?
Meth. Or Adderall that he just took way too much of. And I'm just going to document on body camera that he's not taking as prescribed. It says take 1 tablet per month per day. Over the 30 days, he got a pill and a half. What's that?
You go to my daughter's graduation, I promise you there's been no drugs.
So even if you can still get a DWI off of a prescription medication. Okay, you're showing signs of impairment caused by the prescriptions. Even if it's not a prescription, it's a stimulant of some kind. What I am going to do for you, because you're late, you're not going to make it in time. Do you want to call somebody to let them know? I can't let you go. We have to do this process.
Please.
I'll try to get you going as soon as we can. I can't. My hands are tied.
Graduation, please.
I know.
Please.
So I'm just gonna.
Drugs.
We're gonna get going, and we're gonna get
I
some.
swear to God, I've got no drugs, please.
So I can't. We're under arrest for DWI. But do you want to call somebody quick to let them know you won't make it in time? Do you want to do that, or do you want to wait?
Yes, call someone again.
What's your pin?
I got my pen.
Do you want your hands, or can you go off to the
Am I
side?
gonna be in jail overnight, all weekend, or what? I gotta work tomorrow morning at 6 a.m.
When's our last? Okay, I'm gonna ask you a question, but first I'm gonna read you something, right? You're under arrest. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of law. You have the right to an attorney and have an attorney present during questioning. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed to you with little to no cost. Do you understand those rights?
Yes.
So now I'm going to ask you questions. I'm going to explain everything, so at least then if you answer a question, I read you that. When was your last DWI? Was it within 10 years?
2019.
19, it is 24 now. Okay, so we're within 10, so it would be a 3rd-degree DWI. You're still not required to see a judge, okay? So I'm not going to make you sit all night. But can somebody come get you at 7 in the morning to get you to work?
That sounds like sitting all night. 7 in the morning, can someone come and get you? What a liar.
Well, you can't drive because I'm arresting you for being impaired while driving.
I promise you, I'm not impaired.
We're impaired by prescription medications.
I'm not impaired. I drove a semi all day.
Trooper Bozer tells Mr. Moore that he is under arrest for driving while impaired by a prescription medication. Adderall is classified as a Schedule II controlled substance. Under Section 169A.20 of the Minnesota statutes, it is illegal for an individual to drive a vehicle with any measurable amount of a Schedule II controlled substance present in their body, regardless of actual impairment. This creates a so-called per se violation, where even prescription medications such as Adderall can lead to criminal charges. However, Section 169A.46 of the Minnesota statutes creates an affirmative defense, which allows drivers to avoid a DWI conviction if they can prove by the preponderance of the evidence that they used the controlled substance according to the terms of a valid prescription. An issue with this defense in Mr. Moore's situation is the presence of the half tablet in his prescription bottle when the terms of his prescription were to take 1 pill per day. Although Mr. Moore explained to Trooper Bozer that he sometimes only takes a half tablet on the weekend when he does not have to work, Trooper Bozer later testified that she did not believe this explanation, and that instead she suspected that Mr. Moore had crushed and snorted Adderall after work. It should also be noted that the prescription defense only applies to a so-called per se DWI charge based on the mere presence of a Schedule I or Schedule II drug in a driver's system. It does not apply to a charge of being, quote-unquote, under the influence of a controlled substance, which is also prohibited by Section 169A.20 of the Minnesota statutes. In other words, having a prescription is not a defense if the prosecution can prove that the driver was actually impaired by the drug, as the law expects prescription users to refrain from driving if the medication affects their ability to drive safely. Therefore, Mr. Moore could potentially be found guilty of DWI if he was found to have taken his Adderall outside the terms of his prescription, or if the court concluded that he was actually impaired by the Adderall.
Okay, but I'm just telling you what you're under arrest for, and what I see are the signs of impairment.
I ran out of my Ozempic yesterday. My blood sugar's probably high.
Okay, so even that's not going to cause what I'm seeing. And we can have the hospital check your blood as well. But I'm
You're
just
not going to find nothing in my system other than my Adderall, and you're not going to find a high level of it. You're going to find it within normal range.
And so here's the issue. The issue is because it is a Controlled 2 scheduled drug, any amount that is not in conformance with the prescription would then lead to a per se violation because you're not taking it in conformance with the prescription. So the fact that he's just answering this question, they find a half a pill in there. Now that means he wasn't following this according to the prescription, because it's, how could you have a half a tablet if it's once per day? That's what's going on.
Okay, then that's what we're gonna find.
Well, I still get a DWI out of that?
You're under arrest for
I'm
DWI.
gonna lose my CDO for this or what?
So
what?
this is one.
It's my job.
I know. So the blood doesn't come back for like 2-3 months. So everything stays after.
But the arrest happens now, right? So this is what I'm talking about. You need to have a mechanism. If you're wrong after all this, how am I compensated for your mistake? I had rights here. You just walked over them, and apparently not enough to actually do anything to convict me, because you don't even get the results back for 3 months. So if you're going to keep me, you better be right.
Is for 3 months. Then you can take it to court. You can fight it in court. You can do whatever. But that's the process that goes.
How long will it take for you to release me? I can't drive my car out of here.
Absolutely not. I just arrested you for a DWI.
I'm not gonna make a graduation.
No, we're not making a graduation tonight. And we try to make this as fast and smooth as possible.
Who cares?
So heartbroken.
I know. So move it in the end, okay?
Drugs, I've done nothing
Okay.
wrong.
So you didn't want to give me, or didn't want to do the passcode for his phone, which also tells me. Yeah, I'm gonna.
See, she's narrating for the crap. What a bunch of crap. He won't give me the password for the phone, so that's some other indication. My.
So what's gonna happen? What's it look like from here?
So now we go in, I type a search warrant, they'll take blood, and typically you'd go to jail for the night.
Okay.
But we'll see.
After his arrest, Trooper Bozer obtained a search warrant, and Mr. Moore agreed to a blood draw. The sample was tested by the Minnesota Department of Safety Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, which found the presence of amphetamines in the amount of 0.034 milligrams per liter. According to an expert retained by Mr. Moore in his defense, this amount is within the so-called therapeutic range of Adderall usage and was consistent with his prescribed dosage of 30 milligrams daily taken at 6 a.m. Mr. Moore was charged with 2 counts of DWI, 1 count for driving under the influence of a controlled substance, and 1 count for driving while his body contained any amount of a controlled substance. As a result of his arrest, Mr. Moore lost his job and his commercial driver's license was revoked. He retained legal counsel, who filed a petition for judicial review of his license revocation. On October 31st, 2024, the court denied the petition, and Mr. Moore appealed the decision to the Minnesota Court of Appeals. Oral arguments were held on June 3rd, 2025, and as of the date of writing this episode, both the Court of Appeals decision and the criminal charges against Mr. Moore are still pending. Mr. Moore is seeking a civil rights attorney and has started a GoFundMe campaign to assist with the costs of legal representation. I've included a link to this campaign in the description below.
Okay, so you see why I get all worked up, because these are my clients. This is state of Minnesota. This is where they are so prosecuting this with just such little regard for if they're wrong. And that's what I advocate for, a system where it's very easy to make a complaint, just as easy it is to give you a ticket. That's reviewed by a judge, only looking at the videotape, so it's pretty clear, pretty fast. And if there is a preponderance of the evidence that your rights were violated, you get to get compensated for. That's my thought, because field sobriety tests are so subjective. And here's the dirty little secret. If you don't take them, they're going to take, in Minnesota, they're going to take you right into custody. So when you decide not to take them, people are always taking them, trying to prevent that, because as soon as you say no, you go into custody, then they're going to ask you for a breath test at the police station. That's what's going to happen. If there's nothing in your system, don't give them any more. Just refuse that test. Take the test at the station, because they've got it here in Minnesota. If you refuse the one at the station, it's a greater crime. All right, well, until the next time, I will calm down. Thanks for all the support, and I will see you the next time from the Wolfgram Worldwide headquarters here in downtown Minneapolis, Minnesota. This is Wolf 6 out here.